afternoon. You're watching News 18 Global with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. Our top focus that we're tracking this afternoon is coming out of Pakistan, where there is high drama that continues to play out. The ex-Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, and the PTI chief, he's currently at the Islamabad High Court, where a lot of drama and development is taking place. Remember, this comes after the Islamabad High Court had stopped the Election Commission from going ahead with criminal proceedings against him in the Tosha Khana case. Now, supporters of Pakistan's former Prime Minister Imran Khan, they poured onto the streets of Peshawar to celebrate on Thursday after the Pakistan Stop Court ruled that the arrest of Imran Khan was illegal. The Pakistan Supreme Court condemned the arrest of Imran Khan inside of the court premises by the NAB, or the National Accountability Bureau, and called it a contempt of court. In court, Imran Khan then gave shocking details of his arrest and claimed that he was beaten by security officials when in custody. He apologized to the court for the protests in the country and also requested his supporters to maintain peace and calm. Ever since Imran Khan was arrested in the Al Qadr Trust case, violent protests have broken out in Pakistan. PTI workers were furious over his arrest and they even barged into the army headquarters at Rawalpindi. Internet services, remember, was shut. Section 144 was also imposed in Lahore and curfews were imposed as well. So what really is the plan of action as far as the PTI is concerned, and what is the future of Pakistan? We in fact have a member of the National Assembly of Pakistan, the PTI, the Shandana Gulzar Khan, now joining us on the broadcast. Sir, good to have you with us on the broadcast to try and make sense of what really is happening in Pakistan and what is the plan as far as the PTI is concerned. Ma'am, how do you see the developments that are first happening as far as the Islamabad High Court is concerned? Legal proceedings against Imran Khan, they still continue.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's been a year of proceedings against Prime Minister, the actual elected Prime Minister of Pakistan and the chairman of PTI. I mentioned this on many shows yesterday, and I think it's worth repeating a number of times that he is under indictment for 144 cases, ranging from the regular to the ludicrous. For example, two of the cases that have been brought against him to somehow depict him as somebody less than Muslim, less than honest, less than scrupulous in his personal life is one is a fake paternity lawsuit, which was not brought by a young girl in question, but by the opposition or the government in question for that matter. Secondly, a cleric was brought forward to testify that Khan Saab is living in sin with his very much married wife. You can imagine when your enemies stoop that low, they couldn't possibly have a positive agenda for the country. And that's where we've been taking our cue from. If you'll recall, since the vote of no confidence last year, the country has nosedived both economically, in terms of calamities, pretty much everything. These people have the opposite of the Midas touch. Everything they touch, it turns to dust. What we have asked for PTI for the last 1 year is to simply observe and respect the Constitution and the law therein. Because if today the Supreme Court or the Parliament for that matter, we decide unilaterally that we, the elected representatives, can flout the Constitution, or, for example, that certain people have the right to live and others don't, certain people have the right to make a living and certain don't, and a bigger example that the elections of Punjab and KPK can be delayed beyond the 90-day mandate in the Constitution, then Pakistan is going for a six. And it is only those people in whose interest is an unstable Pakistan who would side with changing of the Constitution through the Supreme Court. So this entire year has been a comedy of errors, simply trying to malign him and failing at every turn. They've made Khan so powerful, so popular that people who didn't even vote for him are out on the streets.
Interesting.
Teachers,
You're
doctors,
saying that all these
accountants.
cases, in fact, are working in Imran Khan's favor, because you're saying that he's been able to whip up the support of people who actually didn't even want to side with him. But I want to take your attention back to the legal troubles that still continue, because we're not just talking about one or two cases. We're talking for as many, anywhere between 80 to 100 cases where the name Imran Khan finds a mention. Yes, there has been a relief as far as the Tosha Khana case is concerned. There is some development that's happening as far as the Al Qadr case is concerned, where his arrest has been called illegal. But what about the rest? Don't you think that the legal troubles, if they continue for Imran Khan, he'll spend all his time just jostling between the cases rather than focusing on what his political ambitions are?
Ma'am, if I could be brutally honest, and I'll give you an example, I'm a
Sure.
tiny player in the world of PTI. I come from the KP, from the north, from Peshawar. I have been on trial since last June, July. I have been bribed, coaxed, cajoled, thrown out of my apartment, thrown out of my house, my passport taken away from me. I am a member elect of the National Assembly as we speak, and the Election Commission refuses to notify me. I've had a sedition case against it, case instituted against me. Recently, I'm the subject of another investigation in which my excess alleged billions have been siphoned off to a country to speak ill of the country. Now, frankly, I don't need anybody else to speak ill of me or my country. If I choose to do that, I can do it very well. This is simply an underhanded agenda for us to give up our dream of a Naya or a new Pakistan where there is equality. All we dream of is equality of opportunity. For 75 years, we've paid the price, and people are sick and tired. The reason you see people on the streets is not just for Imran Khan, it's for Pakistan. 70% of our population is under the age of 30. But interestingly, I don't know if you saw the news yesterday, the women who were being beaten up on the streets, the children, the students, the elderly, all of them simply want a Pakistan that runs on the constitution and not on the wishes and whims of these three dynastic parties, the People's Party, the Noon League, and this Jamiat Party. Nobody wants them anymore. As I said, these people may well not be voters of Imran Khan, but they are voters of Pakistan. So Pakistan first and constitution first. That is the main dilemma that Khan is facing in all the courts. There is zero corruption. I can assure you, these people own the finance ministry. They own the commerce ministry. They can cook up as many Trump charges as they want. But
Okay.
they have access to all the banking records, to all the financial records, to MoneyGram, to Western Union, to Treasury bills, you name it. If there was anything against the man, they would have found it in the last 14 months. I can assure you of that. That's how the country works. Nothing is hidden. So
Okay.
why is it that they come up with spurious and ludicrous cases which have no fact or bearing in reality? It is simply the idea
Well,
to kill an
ma'am, just to
idea.
be
And well,
fair, it's not for me and
sure,
you to decide as far as the merit of the case is concerned. The legal proceedings,
sure.
when they happen, you will have the courts decide it. So I'll leave that there. But just politically speaking, I have another aspect that I want to discuss with you. We've seen some very big allegations that have been made by a lot of PTI leaders just in the last few
Yes.
days as to what you feel the ruling dispensation wants to do with Imran Khan once he's behind bars. We've heard claims of him being possibly killed behind bars. Some have made claims that he's going to be poisoned slowly, but we haven't seen any proof that has been put out by any of your leaders. So then the criticism coming in is, are you just making these claims to try and get some sympathy?
Ma'am, the only proof, God forbid, we'll ever get is when Khan is poisoned. I'm afraid that's the only proof you're ever going to get. These allegations come from places that we cannot mention. These allegations come from infallible resources. These allegations, these revelations come to us from people who are in the know. And unfortunately, if we don't call it out now, do you think it's going to be of any benefit to Khan once, God forbid, he is no longer with us? Secondly, as you said, it is certainly up to the courts to decide what is legal or illegal. But neither the courts nor the Supreme Court, for that matter, in any country in the world, has the right to go against the will of the people. The Constitution is a document in any country made by the people's representatives, signed and sealed in Parliament. If the Supreme Court wishes to go against Khan in any particular case, they can't also conveniently tweak the Constitution while they do it. That's all I'm saying. Let there be all these indictments against them. Let be the due process of law.
Sure.
But no judge in the country, no politician in the country, no power in the country has the right to tweak or change the constitution. It's simply not done. That can only be done when there's a full parliament, and right now we don't have a full parliament. It's a hung parliament. Secondly, and thirdly, in fact, as you say, the reports that we see on the roads, on the streets of Khan being
Yeah.
maligned, look, it's very simple. You saw this, and this doesn't have to go very far. George
Sure.
Washington was termed a terrorist by the British colonizers. He's a hero in the United States. That's how these movements work.
But you know what I'm trying to
Same for
essentially,
Mahatma.
I'm trying to understand
Yes.
something.
Yes,
You're
yes.
saying that a lot of people who didn't know Imran Khan today want to support him. But how do you
Yes.
justify the scenes of violence and vandalism that we've seen over the last couple of days? How is that going to work in the favor of Imran Khan? And I'll give you an example. Even as the proceedings are still happening in the Islamabad High Court, you have as many as 50 supporters of the PTI who in fact have been arrested. Is vandalism the answer to any sort of legal action that is being taken by Imran Khan? That has
Ma'am,
been taken
I
on
care.
Imran Khan, I beg your pardon.
I will contest that because I come from Peshawar. I was in Peshawar and I have seen plainclothes men coming off official vehicles, joining PTI ranks, setting government installations to fire, then changing outfits, wearing a handkerchief on their face, a rumal, as we say in Pakistan, and then firing on the protesters. So I'm afraid this drama is a bit old. They're still living in the era of the 80s where you framed people. This is happening to all of us. I've been framed, so many of others. I speak from experience. I don't speak from rhetoric. Secondly, I can assure you, even with a member of parliament's ID card, I don't have any access to any government building in Pakistan unless I've been an MP for 3.5 years. I've been a parliamentary secretary for commerce
Sure.
and industry. I can't enter a single government building until I'm authorized to come in from inside. So unfortunately for people like me, it's very hard to swallow that unarmed protesters were able to enter the most sacred sites in Pakistan. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did. It doesn't.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I'll have to leave that conversation there. Shandana, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Hope to connect with you
Likewise.
sometime in the future to try and make sense of what really is happening in Pakistan. As we leave that conversation, some other reactions also coming in.
Pakistan's government deployed the army on Wednesday to stop violent protests that have broken out across the country and left a number of people dead since the arrest of former leader Imran Khan. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Wednesday warned protesters the government's response to the unrest would be, quote, iron-handed. At least 5 people are dead in violent clashes between protesters and police, dealing a blow to Pakistan's stability while it suffers a severe economic crisis and faces a delay to an International Monetary Fund bailout that's lasted since November. Khan's supporters stormed government buildings following the former prime minister's arrest in a land fraud case on Tuesday. Other state buildings and assets have also been attacked and set on fire by protesters, escalating tensions between Khan and the army. As protests rage on, the former international cricket star turned politician is now under the custody of Pakistan's anti-graft body for 8 days for further questioning, according to a government advisor. If convicted, Khan will be disqualified from standing for office, possibly for life. Pakistan is due for elections later this year.
There were 150 odd cases that were registered against him. And he was very vociferously contesting all of those cases and he was following them up. He was appearing in almost all the cases. Every second day there was a hearing. So yes, these cases are to be faced now. But however, I must say that the way he was picked up from the Islamabad High Court and even the judgment is out, which sort of spoke about his arrest, though it has declared his arrest legal, but it speaks volumes about how the entire thing was carried out, how the state machinery was used, how the paramilitary force was used. Even in this case, I personally feel that he will come out scot-free because this appears to be a frivolous case on the face of it. I mean, if there's anything that Imran Khan is very clear about, that is that he's not corrupt. And the government is trying its level best and the forces are trying their level best. And when I say forces, I mean the Pakistan Democratic Movement, which is an alliance. They are trying their best to make out a corruption case against him so the same sentiment can be floated. But I don't think so they will be successful. You can carve out other cases on Imran Khan, but certainly not the case of corruption.
The response that was given by followers of Mr. Imran Khan have, I think, created a great embarrassment for their own party and for him. The worst kind of demagoguery, the worst kind of fascism that is being demonstrated by a leader. He has chosen a path of spreading anarchy, chaos, and destruction in the country only to protect himself from accountability. This case in which he has been arrested by NAB is a case of graft, a case of embezzlement, a case of corruption of 160 million pounds, which is 60 billion Pakistani rupees.